better.
Hey fam, welcome to the Corner Truth. Happy New Year to everyone. Thanks for joining. And I like to always start off with asking you guys to hit like and subscribe to our channel so you can stay in tune. But welcome everyone. I am your host, Coach K, aka motivational speaker and mindset life coach. And my co-host is none other than the Dr. Kenneth, aka Coach Gray. Yay! Welcome everyone. Welcome to the show. And
Yay!
tonight, fam, we got a hot topic for you. The title is called Get Ready. And we called it Get Ready because we want you guys to start implementing some preparations for what's about to come down the pike. Yes, it is get ready and prep time. So, yes, we have entered into a new year, 2026. Yay! So, we're going to kick this show off and let me just put it this way. This show is going to be a little provocative, shall I say. And it's not going to actually be for everyone. So I can assure you, Coach Gray, that we're going to have three types of listeners on this show tonight. We're going to have the comfortable listeners. We're going to have those who are in search of truth. And we're going to have those who, if it doesn't directly affect them, then they won't be bothered by the truth, even if it's right in front of them. So, with that being said, fam, we about to jump right into this thing. So I'm not sure how many of you are aware of what's called the 4IR, and it's called what it stands for is the Fourth Industrial Revolution. And many think that we are entering that phase, Coach, but unbeknownst to a lot of people, we are beyond that phase. They are actually looking into the goals, setting goals for the fifth industrial revolution. And what that looks like, fam, is transhumanism. So they're looking into collaborating human beings with robots. And let me tell you something. I pay attention to a lot of things that most folks don't pay attention to. I have I don't know if you want to call it a gift, an ear, an eye, or what have you, but I go beyond surface level information. And I watched this past election, and there were a lot of things that I noticed. And at the president's inauguration, if you paid attention, you saw a lot of techies there. There were like a bunch of tech gurus there, and they were surrounding him like vultures. But it all made sense the next day when he got into office, when he started signing all of these executive orders. The pieces of the puzzle started to come together for me, and it triggered me to go, because I had that mind where I just got to go digging to do more research. And lo and behold, they have an American company that has invested like $500 billion into this company. I want y'all to pay attention and remember this name, a company called Stargate. And who's running Stargate is OpenAI, Oracle, SoftBank. And get this, Coach, they're already building plants across the United States. And Everything, we're entering into that digital era. Everything is going to become digitalized. Our currency, they have what's called stable coins now. And I want to tell you guys, first of all, these are not conspiracy theories. These are things that you are able to fact check yourselves. And basically, this is a whole homework assignment for you guys tonight when you get off to go and research a lot of things that we're going to be discussing here. And also, too, I'm no global financial guru, but I can tell you the different things that I have heard and the different things that I have read up on about the stable coins. And basically, you're going to be banking over the internet. And the way that they're setting everything up, fam, it is get ready time. It is time for preparation on how we are going to navigate through what is about to come. So you're going to have bankings competing with one another. And then once we go to that internet banking, everything is going to become digital access. As I can't talk tonight, assets. But what's going to happen is, you think there are cameras around everywhere now watching you. They are going to be watching and monitoring everything that we do concerning funding. And I got to thinking, Coach, I was like, I'm not sure how long ago, but it's been recently where when you cash app somebody, they recently started you asking you to put in a memo, what are you sending the person money for? They're tracking everything. And I cannot say this enough, fam. It is time to get ready. I actually, before I turn it over to you, Coach, I want to read something very quickly that Elon Musk said. And this should get you going. We talked about the stable coins, right? And that's cryptocurrency. And it's going to be, like I said, uploaded through the internet. But I want to get to what Elon Musk has been talking about. He's talking about mass unemployment and coming up with a basic universal income. And I'm going to read to you what he said verbatim. He said, there will be fewer and fewer jobs that a robot can do better. He said the greater challenge is going to be, how do people then have meaning? He said a lot of people derive their meaning from their employment. And that takes me back. Remember, I think our first show that you and I had together, I mentioned when you ask people who they are, they often tell you what it is that they do because they haven't come into the realization of who they are. This is going to be proof of it. He says a lot of people derive their meaning from their employment. He said, if you're not needed, if there's not a need for your labor, then what's the meaning
of your
of your
life. Yeah, it's, that's old for me. I've heard him say this before the election, exactly verbatim. And you were into a year now plus in the cycle for this administration. So you can't do this unless you have the power. This is not about white, black, or blue. This is about power. Okay, when you have the
Mhm.
power to do something, then you can do what you now. He wants to put 10 billion bots on the earth. There's
Mhm.
8.1 billion people. That's a bot for every person. But the thing is, if they have the bot, what do they need us for? Okay.
You said
Let's go
what?
all, if they have the bots, what do they need humans for? Okay.
Exactly. That's the
Well,
fifth industrial revolution.
the foolish thing is he's a human and he's gonna die. So I don't get these fools. These are powerful, foolish individuals. But if you read the Bible, we started the show out with a prayer, right? So if we are going to talk about it, we need to be about it. Okay. This ain't new. When they stole slaves, they had a blueprint. When they came here, it was agriculture. Then it was textile. Now it's technology. They had a blueprint. So this is not new. They know what they're going to do, but the effects is on us when they implement it. when they say this is how it's going to be. But these guys have been talking about this for almost 100 some odd years. This ain't new. So what's new
Exactly.
is us. We have to really get out of our own way and stop being so damn comfortable with things. And when you take God out of things, you accept all this bull. When have they mentioned God in all this? Not one time. Not one
Yep.
time.
Well, yes,
So,
they have, and I'm gonna tell you what.
well,
This is the
it's a
good part.
lie.
So,
Most of the time
well,
they only use it to lie.
let me tell you, this is where it gets a little. We're gonna jump around a little bit, but here's where it gets a little interesting. Our dear president said that his life was spared by God,
And he may be
so that
right.
he.
And
So
he
wait a
may be
minute, so
right.
that he can make our country great again for our God. Now I don't know who his God is. Well, I do know. Actually, let me rephrase that. I do know who his God is. And
Sure.
let me tell you, you mentioned
Sure.
slavery. Listen, right now we are under a controlled demolition. We really are. We're under a controlled demolition because, as you mentioned earlier, people are asleep. They're looking at things on the surface. They're thinking, hey, new technology, this is great, this is great. We're evolving. And I'm not saying that all technology is bad. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm
Mm-mm.
saying is you have to look at the greater scheme of things, the agenda behind what it is that they're doing. And like you said, they have been doing this for years, and they are
Yeah.
literally coming up with plans how to collaborate humans
Hmm.
and bots
Sure.
together. The
Sure.
bots will
Sure.
produce babies. It's it's off the chain. And
Yep.
so all these events that keep coming up, they are tests. That's exactly what they are. Just like COVID, it was a test. Every event that you see that we cycle through is testing you to see if you're going to fold, how you're going to survive through it, even with the executive orders that he signed when he first got into office. One of the things that cracked me up was he signed an emergency declaration for energy because he said we're under an emergency when it comes to electricity because he needs this electricity to build these AI plants. And I'm like,
Yes.
these people are truly something else.
Well, you
Something
got to
else.
understand energy grids like Canada. See, Canada controls a lot of that energy grid. So America doesn't have the energy grid that you think. So they're trying to build their own energy grids for this AI, and they need that
Oh
power.
yeah,
That's where that oil they're stealing up there is the same thing. But they're so far
absolutely.
behind. They're so far behind. It's going to take years. However, it is a plan. So the question is, and there's always the question, what we going to do? What
But you said
we
it's going to take years for what? I missed that part. Remember, I have to
for
listen
that
intently because I can.
for that energy grid to be powered to do this, because you're going to need other countries. You're going to need that lithium that they're trying to steal from that uranium and that lithium they're trying to take from the other countries in the war. It's a whole lot that they have to do to get this energy. When you said he signed that declaration, there's a lot to energy. There's a lot to electricity. There's a lot that goes into it. And we don't have that infrastructure here in America because they outsource so much. That's why they put these tariffs, other countries. Look, there's a lot to it. America is not owned
I
by who
don't
you.
think it's going to take years though. And that's one of the things that I don't want us to sleep on. I don't think it's going to take years. And this is why he's signing these executive orders
Well,
for
you
this
have to
new.
have the players. You have to have the people in place to make these things operational, right? He by himself, he doesn't care. It's the underbellies. It's the other people, like you said, the techies, the other countries, right? When you take a Venezuela, he said the oil company's already set and ready to go into Venezuela to do the work. He doesn't care. He just has the power to allow that to happen. They needed someone to have that power to open the doors for them to do that. He's not that smart, and he doesn't really care. But because it lines his pocket with what he loves, he's okay with it. And we just have to
So
say
he
it the
may
word.
not be that smart, but he's backed by the powers that be, who has the
Yes, he is.
money, who has the
Yes, he is.
intelligence to.
Yeah.
Because remember, he is a puppet, but he's
Hmm.
also backed by the powers that be. And one of the
Hmm.
things that I do not want the viewers to miss is that right now, like I said, we are literally under a controlled demolition. And
Sure.
the bigger plan is for a new world order. And
Yes, it is.
so, in order
Yes,
for
it
there to
is.
be something new,
Yes,
you
it is.
must first tear down the old. And so
That's
that's
right.
why you see all of this competition. Right now, we're actually operating under a multipolar system, right? And the goal is where you see we have China and Brazil and who else? They are power countries, right? And what happens
Hmm.
when a person obtains a lot of power? They want more and more power. And so
More.
naturally, they're going to start competing against one another. And then that multipolar system is going to go away. It's going to pave way for the unipolar system, which is a segue into the New World Order.
Yeah. Again, everything you everything you saying, we've heard this. I've heard this for years. Now I've been my antennas has been up for years. I'm a news junkie. I'm a researcher. I listen, right? I watch. You don't have to say everything all the time, but it's all coming together. But nothing comes together and constructed without a blueprint. You have to have that blueprint and know where you're going to start, right? So the blueprint is, ladies, if you go back the 2 years before the election, there was a gentleman that said AI is here and it's not going away. That was 2 years
Exactly.
before the election. They came out
Mhm.
on the news and gave the announcement very quietly that AI is here. Okay. Well, again, it's nothing but a tool. It's everything that you're saying. Technology is a tool, but it's how you use that tool. If I gave you a knife and send you in the wilderness, I said, this knife is going to help you survive. So the intent is for you to survive with the knife. But what if you have to kill with the knife? It's not just a survival tool anymore, it becomes a weapon. It's the intent behind the things that we're doing. Now, there's
Exactly.
also when you talk about, let's go to church now, the mark of the beast. Look, we can talk about it. The mark of the beast. What do you think the mark of the beast is? Something on your body to where when you walk by, it scans and they know how much money you are, who you are. You don't need to go in your wallet anymore. Okay, it's
Mhm.
coming, man. It's here. Well,
And this is
yes, but let's talk it when if you believe or don't believe.
exactly.
When when Satan was kicked out of heaven, he was kicked to the earth. That's their God. So therefore, we can talk about this all day long, but the problem is what we going to do. And I'll say that all night long. What are we going to do? I know what they're doing, but what are we going to do? We have power too, but
Absolutely.
individually, we're not that powerful, but collectively, we can do a mighty thing. We can.
And that
So,
they know this. And this is
yes,
why the show is
yes,
titled tonight, Get
yes.
Ready. Get ready.
Get
And
ready.
they know that collectively we do have power, which is why they create these distractions, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It keeps us divided. You know, during the election, both sides were so divided, right? They couldn't come together and agree
Hmm.
on anything.
Hmm.
But it's hilarious to me that they all rushed to the table to sign this one law, the Genesis law, that regulates this cryptocurrency. And I'm like, wow, y'all couldn't come together on anything else, but you came together swiftly on this one. But you were saying something about I need you. Did you freeze on me? There you go, you're back.
Hmm.
You were talking about, you said,
Hmm.
oh, when you mentioned the mark of the beast. And this is why for me as a believer,
Hmm.
now I'm not a news junkie. I don't sit in front of the
Hmm.
television. I'm not a fearmonger. I try to keep that stuff far from me. But I do do enough to keep up with current events and to know what is going on so I'm not blindsided, right? And so when I pay attention
Sure.
to things
Sure.
like you, I start digging. I'm a researcher, and I just break that thing down like a crumbled slice of bread because I need to know more, because I need to know how to move and how to navigate through the situation. And then also too, it's
Mhm.
also a tool for me to see how many people say that the Bible isn't true, but it shows me every day how it is
Mhm.
being revealed, how it's coming to pass, the book of Revelation, every single day. And just paying attention to these things, I'm like, wow, the pages are literally coming to
Unfold.
life.
Mhm.
And,
Right. Sure.
you know,
Sure.
we talked about the racism, the events
Mhm.
that are the distractions so that we won't be able to see
Mhm.
what in hindsight is coming to pass. And it's done strategically. They do this strategically because they know.
Sure.
Remember
Sure.
when, I don't even think they do it anymore. Remember when you used to buy a product and it used to offer back, give you this money back warranty or guarantee rebate. You get to
Rebate.
mail in
Rebate.
and you get the money back. Well, they did that a lot because they banked on the majority of the people not sending that in
Information.
or not
Mhm.
reading the fine print. And that's
Right.
exactly what news media does. And they bank on you not reading the fine print. And that reminds me of something my brother said to me some years ago. He said to me some years ago, he said, you have to learn how to read in between the lines of what's not being said. And
Right.
what saddens my heart is, coach, is that we have a lot of people out here who is just simply sitting back, waiting on the government to give them a step by step
Mhm.
of what's
Mhm.
coming next.
Well, again, the system is working exactly where it's designed. Like, we have to. You said it's not by mistake, or it's it's designed this way because
Hmm.
if if you are dependent on me to feed you, you're gonna wait. But if you're hungry, you're gonna find something to eat. Now we talk about that in sports a lot, right? We say bring something right now, right? We've gotten away from uh, seeing what they're doing because we're twerking. We're in the cameras posing for our likes, social media, right? We gotta understand that most of it is race baiting. The attack on black women just in a year has been off the chart. You understand? DEI and all that, off the chart. That's the system working, right? So again, if we have people asleep, it's because we don't have the storytellers, we don't have the folks out there saying, "Hey, the messengers may be doing it. We need the more messengers to tell the folks to wake up." We don't know, but something's different because in my era of the 70s and the 80s and the 90s, we had storytellers. We had people standing at the post. Right now, I don't see it.
But
I
see,
don't see it.
here's the tricky
So
part.
maybe we need to get back.
There's a plethora of information thrown at people every
Yes, it
day.
is.
And with fake
Mhm.
news, AI making everything seem so real, you have to know how to decipher through the garbage that's being
Yes, you
thrown
do.
at you and to
Yes,
be
you
able to
do.
eat the watermelon
Yes,
and
you
spit
do.
out the seeds, knowing what to use and what to spit out because the information that is being thrown at you, because again, the algorithms are thinking for everybody. And you click on one thing and then they're going to throw something else in your feed, and you're going to be like, oh yeah, I knew I was right. See, it said this, and I saw it here, and I saw it there. That's
Well,
because the algorithm is
well,
thinking for you. It's intentionally putting that stuff in your feed. So again, I encourage people, when you research something, don't just go Google it. You got to go and dig deeper. You can't rely on
well,
YouTube and Instagram to give you, because they're going to give you exactly what your itching ears want to hear. You have to know how to dig beneath the surface so that you can derive at the truth.
well, it goes to the point. You said it earlier. The cameras are out there. They're watching, right? They're also listening. So
Absolutely.
when you speak, even on this platform, in my phone and Siri and whatever, they're listening. There's satellites out
Mhm.
there that can tell you your whole day. Okay, all they got to do is
Yep.
go back the whole day and see what you did yesterday. You cannot
Yep.
duplicate what you did, but they know what you've done. We know what society,
Mhm.
what type of fears and wickedness we live. It's been told to us years ago it was going to be this way, and it's here. Somebody didn't lie, because clearly what was told to me, I'm looking at it right now today at 60 years old. But the question is still, it's what we gonna do, right? They had the power, but it's a small group of people. The 8.1 billion people on the face of the earth, but yet how many people follow that narrative of, you know, more than what you think? Okay, and again, it's a small number of people that's doing this, but they have the resources, they have the power, they own the TV, they own the phones, they own the airways, they own the like you said, the algorithms. We understand that. And our generation that's being
And the
born
goal
today,
is to own you. That is the goal, is to
yeah,
own you.
yeah,
They
own
can't
you.
bring us back over
Yeah,
on this
twice.
anymore.
Remember, to own you twice, because they did it
Mhm.
the first time with slavery. Now it's to
Mhm.
continue that ownership, and it's not just white
Exactly.
or black. It's all people now, all people. Because
Exactly.
clearly, the
That is
last
the
time I
point.
saw, there's a lot of white people up in arms as well.
Absolutely. You hit the
This is
nail
about
on the head.
total
Exactly.
control. Yeah, yeah,
Yep. And
total
that's why
control.
I said the point is now is to own you. And so
Yeah.
listen, there's no coincidence with the food, how we're being dumbed down, how we see so many people addicted to their phones, addicted to social media. They're being dumbed down. No coincidence. Let me
Right,
tell you,
right, right.
people, this is not a conspiracy theory. This is truth.
It's
When you
working.
go into the grocery store, you're not even buying real eggs. Eggs in the carton, it looks like an egg. When you pull it out, you crack it, it cracks like, but it's not an egg. They're being produced in the lab as well, and there is proof of that. And so one of the things that you want to try and do is to make sure, but even that's a slippery slope sometimes. But you want to, if you are egg purchaser, you want to make sure that they are pasteurized. Those are things that you look for. But they strategically do these things to dumb you down. And going back, circling back to what I said earlier, we get these cycles of events that are tests for us. And we know that this has been thus far, like with the government shutdown, the longest one we've had thus far. Again, they're testing you to see if you're going to be reactionary. See, this is why we're hosting this show, so we can give you things to ponder so that you know how to get ready and you're not caught off guard and you won't be so reactionary. And
Do you remember
I'm,
when 5G? Do you remember when 5G was the talk of the town about 5 years ago, 5 6 years ago? Remember that 5G? Well, 5G is, it's like some, if you go by these,
oh, you breaking up on me. You froze on me, coach.
I can still hear you.
Okay,
How
good.
about
You
now?
froze. I can hear you now.
Can you? All right. Remember when 5G was before COVID? They were talking
Mm-hmm.
about 5G, right?
Mm-hmm.
5G
Yep.
was more powerful than 4G. So with
Hmm.
COVID, when the whole country was shut down, they had opportunities to plant 5G in trees, in towers, because the whole world was shut down. How do you see what's going on outside when you're not allowed to go outside?
Exactly.
Look,
Exactly.
look now, it's not about being a conspiracy theorist. What I'm telling you is about opportunists who can do things to make it work for them, right?
Hmm.
So when you talk about a government shutdown, somebody's doing something. Okay, the
Hmm.
communities never shut down. The government may shut down, but the communities are still doing its thing, right? So
Hmm.
it's about
Hmm.
unity now. If we don't unify, we gonna drown. We can drown as a unified country or separate. Either way, we drowning in this country. But how do
Yeah.
you want to stay afloat? Well, I'll get the right side, you take the left side, and we keep this thing up. Okay? That's a choice we have. But the fact of the matter is, this system is working exactly the way it's supposed to. Reason why they want human and bots communicate that connection is because some groups of people are not reproducing. Now think about that. They're not
Hmm.
reproducing themselves. So that's the way they keep their lineage and their existence by creating bots. It's a God complex. Okay,
Oh
a
yeah,
God.
absolutely. It's always about control. And
Yes,
again, just circling back
yes.
again, I'm gonna say this till I can't say it anymore. We are in a controlled demolition
We yes we are.
environment,
Yes we are. Yes we are.
which
Right.
is why they're not providing us with nutrients that we need in real food
Sure.
because they want to dumb us down so that robots can come in and take
Mhm.
over. That's that transhumanism that we talked about. And that brings me back to one other thing that I think the president said during his inauguration when he said that his life was spared to make America great again. He also said he mentioned something about with AI and this new technology that it's going to bring in over 100,000 jobs. And I'm like, see, this is where people need to go beneath the surface. It's not going to be over 100,000 jobs for humans. It's going to be 100,000 jobs for bots that they're going to be taken over. Just like Elon Musk said, there's going to be fewer and fewer jobs that the bots will not be able to do. Fewer
Mhm.
and fewer. And that's why they're talking about mass unemployment, trying to figure out a universal basic income.
Do
That
you
should be
know
enough to
who
put
owns?
anybody.
Do you know who owns Starlink?
I'm sorry, one more time. Do I know who owns Stargate?
Stargate or Starlink,
Stargate?
whatever. Do you know who own them?
Stargate, yeah. It's like I said earlier, I don't know every single one of the companies, but I know of three of them: OpenAI, um, um, SoftBank, and Oracle.
Right. So Elon is caught up in all that.
Yeah, absolutely. Come on now. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's he has these crazy. He is part of the building of. See,
Now
everybody
you do
focused on
you would
ChatGPT,
need.
but there is a super AI that they are currently working on,
Yeah, it's a
and
supercomputer. Down, down in Tennessee. It's in Tennessee.
it's in Tennessee. I'm not sure. I
Mhm.
can't speak intelligent to that because I have no knowledge of it. I
Yeah.
just know that they are
They have
working
a
on
name
building
for it and
that.
everything. They have a name,
Mhm.
the site, all that's already been built. Right.
And this sounds crazy when they started with this whole AI thing. And I beg the viewers to go and research these things for yourselves because this is absolute truth right here.
Yeah.
This is why this platform is called The Corner Truth. They Chat GPT, when they programmed it, it it started rebelling. It didn't want to shut down. And it went through the emails and blackmail its programmer because it knew that they were building a more intense, for lack of a better word, or super model, and it
Mhm.
started rebelling. Can you imagine? Listen, I think about this all the time. We truly are living in what was the definitely in the Matrix. And what was the Will Smith movie? I Robot.
Robot.
We are
Mhm. Mhm.
definitely in that
Mhm.
time now. And
Trust
and,
me.
and that
Trust
takes me
me.
back to, again, they show you these things purposefully. These
Yep.
movies are not just for
Yep.
entertainment. I be trying to
Nope.
tell people, pay attention. They are showing you stuff for a reason. Again, like my brother said to me years ago, sometimes you have to learn to read between the lines of what's not being said. They feed
Yep.
you the information, but what most people do, they're afraid to do the work, or they sit back and they
Yeah.
wait for the
And
news
wait.
media and the
Yeah.
government to
Yeah.
give them step-by-step plays. And it's
Mhm.
not going to work like that. And that's exactly what they're banking on, you dumbing down and dumbing out.
Right. And you got to remember, there's a people. Now let's take people of color, so African Americans, whatever, put them to the side. Okay, we're just going to put them to the side. There's a people that's been conditioned to follow the system.
Yes.
All right. Even when you see when it's wrong, you can't say nothing. Even when you want to say something, you can't say anything because we have made it so comfortable for you to live your lifestyle. You don't want that to be taken away from you. Okay, so
Ex-
therefore, it's not always the people who's doing the construction. It's the ones who are allowing the construction that could be the problem.
Well, what did I open up with? What did I say? I said we're going to have three types of viewers on this show tonight: those who are comfortable, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Those who,
That's
as
right.
long as it's not affecting them, they will deny the
That's right.
truth when it's right in
Absolutely.
front of their face because
Absolutely.
they're comfortable and they don't want anything coming in and disrupting their
Absolutely.
flow of things.
Absolutely.
Because once
That's
there's a
right.
disruption, it's hard to adapt. It's hard to
Well,
adapt, especially when 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 you depend on money. When you depend on money, who, Lord Jesus, that mm,
well,
we could do a whole show on that,
well,
and not to say that there's anything with wrong with money. There's nothing wrong with
it's a
gaining
tool.
wealth.
It's
It's a
it's a
tool.
tool,
Absolutely nothing
right?
wrong with that.
And let's not
Mhm.
trust me. Listen, when I learned, when I became a certified personal trainer, they taught me something over 30 years ago that said anything, too much of anything can kill you. It's called mega dosing, right? Mega dosing. Even water can kill you. Even when we need it, you too much water will kill you. So it's the money itself, and the tool, and the knife, and the technology can be used for anything you choose to use it for, good or evil. Now, remember the word association that we grew up on as kids. God said good or evil. Which one of those two did you operate in your life? The deeds that you do can be evil, and the deeds that you do can be good. You have a choice because it's called free will, right? So, my point is when other people have power over you, you either concede that power or you buck that power. That's how it works. I either agree
Mhm.
or I disagree, right? And right now, based off of what I'm saying, look, I agree if the technology can improve us as a man or as a people, as a society, I'm about that. But when it starts destroying people, blackmailing people, hurting people, and feeding the wrong food to people, I have a problem with that. I have a
And
problem with that.
we all should have a problem because that's where we
We
are
all
now.
should.
And
All
so,
should.
yeah. And so going back to the money being a tool and the dependency on it, what I mean by that is we can't make that a safe haven, because with this digital, the stable coin, and
Mm-hmm.
this internet, where you're going to upload money into the internet, right? For all
Mm-hmm.
your
Mm-hmm.
assets, for
Right.
all your purchases, what have you.
Right. Right.
What happens when that shuts down and you no longer have access to your money, or when they really start monitoring what you're doing with your money and they decide that they're going to shut you out? And what happens? And that gets shut
Right.
down. What
Right.
happens then? Where is your safe haven then? Coach,
Right.
I'm jumping the gun a little bit, but all of this stuff here, just like we say, there's nothing new under the sun. This actually reminds me of the Cultural Revolution. I've been known to say this a time or two. The Cultural Revolution. It's when I can't
Mm-hmm.
recall. You may be able to who the dictator was at that time in China, but what he did was he didn't want any critical thinkers. Just like how we're
Right.
being dumbed down now, they don't want any critical thinkers. So anyone who was
It's a threat.
educated, all
It's a
the
threat to
children that
them.
was educated, he shut down
It's a threat.
schools,
Yeah, it's a
colleges,
threat.
and he had all of them deployed to a labor camp. They couldn't even see their families because he did not want them smart enough to know how to rise up against him. And
Right.
this is
So
what all of this
it,
stuff reminds me of.
everything you're saying is right on point. Now, again, remember the truth is the same way. It's knowledge. The folks who have the knowledge that can tell you you're wrong, you have to have some type of data or receipts say it's not correct. To depose that and to go against that, that's a threat to that power. Okay, so that's why you put them in these camps, so to keep them away from and keep the fear of you powerful, right? So remember, the truth killed Jesus Christ. You do know that, right? It was the
Hmm.
truth. So the truth
Hmm.
strikes just as powerful as a bomb blowing up, and they don't want to hear it. So why? It's a bomb to a lie. The thing the lie cannot stand is the truth, and what we're telling here today is our truth. May not be the truth of the viewers, like you said. It might not be favorable to some people, but that's okay because it becomes a debate or a conversation. But when I beat you
Hmm.
upside your head and say you got to do what I say and the way I do it, it becomes me as powerful as a dictator. Okay,
Hmm.
and that's what this show is all about. This show is about
Hmm.
is seeing the differences between race baiting, technology, the things that we discussed today, and how do we navigate through it because we're all in it. That's how we're doing it. So how did we get through it in 1960s, 50s, and so on and through slavery? It was called family. And the family sat down and they talked and they talked and they communicated when they didn't know what was going on. We don't do that today. We're scattered, right? We have stories. They may not be the truth, but we're scattered. We need more family meetings together, phones off at the dinner table, talking about what's going on in our life. That's what we need.
But it goes back to what you said earlier. So, it programming,
That's right.
programming. This
Yeah.
programming has been from day one around
They
for
won
years
for
for
years.
us to get to this
Yes.
point.
Yes.
We
Yes.
see it in the who's in school now? Is it the Gen Z
Oh
children
my
that
God.
are
I don't
in
know
school
who these
now?
young people.
But we see this, and then that cycle is just going to repeat itself because now we have the alpha generation that's coming up, and it's so sad because
We still have the
their
X now.
goals
Remember the
are,
X. We're still here.
yeah, but their goals are, I want to be a billionaire. Okay, that's all they hear.
Mhm.
The teachers, and that's what the student, they think that this stuff is going to happen overnight. You know, it's
Right.
teachers very rarely hear children anymore saying that they want to be athletes. You still have some out there who do. You definitely don't hear a lot of students saying that, you know, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a lawyer, I want to be a scientist. You know, it's
Right.
how their minds have been programmed and how some of us have followed the programming and we've raised our children to do the same. And that's
Yeah.
very scary because these are the people who are not going to take the time to dig beneath the surface. And they're going to be the
Right.
people where the truth is going to be right in front of them, but they're going to be so blinded they won't be able
Yeah.
to see. And so, therefore, they're going to
Well,
be dismissive of it.
well, we have a fire drill in school, just in case something happens. Right. There's a drill for emergency purposes. Where's our drill in the family, just in case something happens? Right. When I
Hmm.
grew up, it was the nuclear bomb. If something happened, this is what we're going to do. Well, it doesn't really matter what you do. You're going to be annihilated anyway if you're not in a bunker, right? So you're only going to go in this position to die because it's going to kill you anyway. But where is that panic button, the button that we push in case of emergency, right? In our own homes, in our families. My daughter asked me a question. I picked it up from college. She asked me a question. She said, "Daddy, um, I didn't ask to be here on this earth. How come I have to follow the rules on the earth?" I'm sitting there looking at her like, wait a minute, because first off, because I had to follow it and you gonna follow it too. Now that's my short answer. But when you're in college, it makes you right. And then when you're a young person, it's like, well, you're right. I didn't ask to be here. No one did. And we didn't ask to die. Those two things we can't control. But in between, that's the mystery. The mystery is why we exist when you didn't ask to be here. I, there's some things I can't answer, but I love a good debate, right? I do. But at the same time, she stumped me. I just don't know why we're here. I don't know my purpose, but I know now as a person who's been here long enough what I like in this world, what I've seen in this world, and how I think I can help to be to improve upon my time and my space in this world. Now, nobody has to agree with me. I just have to be okay with me first.
Yeah, it
These
have to be
rules,
about your purpose, whatever you think. For me, like I am a firm believer, and I make no bones about it. My purpose, my very existence, is to bring honor and glory to the one who created me. You know,
and
my God,
and,
who
and
I'm serving. Jesus,
that's
Yahshua, that is my sole purpose, is to bring him glory. And whatever
yeah,
that looks like, that's what
yeah,
it looks like. Because in my world, there's only one purpose, one power, one presence, one plan, and that is him at the end of the day for me.
right. So, and again, with all the things we're talking about today, is get ready. Okay, guys,
Get
the message here today is get ready. Get ready for what? That's the question. We gave you some things, but there's some things that we haven't even talked about that they're talking about and they're planning. So, what I'm saying to you
hmm
is, what do we have to prepare ourselves for? Why are we getting ready for something that either affects us or it doesn't affect us, or you're okay with it or you're not? Why do I have to prepare? Well, preparing itself, prepare yourself for what is about to happen, because some of these things you either have to accept or not. And if you do not accept them, what's your next plan of action? What are the repercussions? Or if you stay lockstep and you follow, what are the repercussions? We don't
Great
know.
closing. Great closing. So I'm just going to piggyback off of that very quickly. So you're getting ready. We've already shared some things with you that are coming down the pipe. But if you continue to do your own research, you would know exactly what you are preparing for and how to prepare. And just as Coach Gray said, some things we don't know, but some things are essential. I think about the things like, what if we were under attack at this very moment? Do we have enough batteries in our homes? Do we have flashlights in our homes? What are the necessities that we may need that will help us survive, that will perform as medication, needed medication? These are things that we need to start getting ready for and preparing for, because any day now, war could break out, be it a race war, be it a terrorist attack, any day now. Are you prepared? So there are many things that we need to get ready for. So I believe that we have given you guys some interesting nuggets on tonight's show. Definitely, like I mentioned earlier, some homework so you can go and do your own research. And while you're out there researching, do take the time to look up the purpose of Web3 and where we are with that. And while you're at it, look up the goals for 5.0. That is the fifth industrial revolution. Well, fam, this has been yet another phenomenal show. I, as always, like to thank my co host, Coach Gray. It's been a pleasure. Oh, and one other thing, fam, because you're going to need it. If you're interested, I have put together a 21-day journal called the Clarity Calm Reset. Shoot me an email and I'll be more than happy to share the link as to where you can go and purchase that 21-day journal. And my email is KB, as in Bravo, KB, or as in Buckner, my last name, KB the corner truth at gmail.com. And I'll shoot you over the link where you can go and purchase that 21-day journal. All right, fam, thanks for joining the show. Coach Gray and I, we wish you a wonderful,
Happy New
peaceful
Year.
evening. We are